People within the travel industry attended protests around the country yesterday, calling for more action to protect their livelihoods. Travel businesses are lobbying hard.
What we actually need today is government to be transparent with us about how they're selecting the countries to go onto the green list on the traffic light system or not, to use their traffic light system in the way that it was intended.
Good afternoon and welcome to the BBC News at 1. Ministers are preparing to announce the latest update to England's traffic light system for travelling abroad, and there's speculation that Malta could be added to the so-called green list with no quarantine required, along with the Spanish Balearic Islands, Ibiza, Mallorca and Menorca. This lunchtime, the Prime Minister hinted that in future foreign travel without quarantine might be possible for those who've been double jabbed. Business leaders are hoping the government will relax restrictions on holidays, but any changes come amid rising concern here and abroad about the continuing spread of the Delta variant. With the latest, here's Theo Leggett.
Summer is here. Travel companies and would-be holidaymakers are desperate for restrictions to be eased, so people can go to more destinations abroad without facing quarantine on their return. Under the so-called traffic light system in England, arrivals from green list countries don't have to go into isolation, although they do need to take a test within 2 days. Those coming back from amber or medium risk countries need to isolate at home. Red means high risk, and quarantine in hotels is compulsory. The government in Westminster has been reviewing the system. More countries could be added to England's green list today. Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland have previously adopted the same list. But ministers have also suggested this week that quarantine restrictions might be removed for travellers coming from amber list countries if they've been fully vaccinated.
The real opportunity we all have now is to open up travel through the double jab. And if you look at it, we've got more than 60% of our population have now had 2 jabs. I think 83% or something have had 1 jab. We're really getting through it now.
Easing restrictions in this way would make a big difference to Rachel, who lives in Switzerland. Her stepfather is ill in hospital, while her 81-year-old mum has also been very unwell recently. They're both in England.
It would make such a big difference if we could get over to see my mum, just to give her a big hug, because she's gone through so much, and yeah, it's been really a difficult time.
Safe travel! Safe travel!
People within the travel industry attended protests around the country yesterday, calling for more action to protect their livelihoods. Travel businesses are lobbying hard.
What we actually need today is government to be transparent with us about how they're selecting the countries to go onto the green list on the traffic light system or not, to use their traffic light system in the way that it was intended.
Wir haben hier sehr strenge Bestimmungen.
Not everyone wants Britons to travel more freely. German leader Angela Merkel said this week that she would like all EU nations to impose quarantine measures on people arriving from the UK to limit the spread of the so-called Delta variant of COVID. But politicians in tourist hotspots disagree.
I can understand Ms. Merkel's concern, but as well, she wants to protect the population. But safeguarding tourism is also a vital issue for different state members, as it can be France or Greece or Italy or even in Spain.
The government has consistently said that the main goal of its international travel policy is to protect public health. But with more and more people now being fully vaccinated, pressure to ease restrictions is becoming intense. Theo Leggett, BBC News.
Well, our medical editor Fergus Walsh is with me. Fergus, obviously a lot the government has to consider in assessing foreign travel rules. What will they be looking at?
Well, it's unclear, Clive, exactly what the criteria are, apart from protecting our population. It would be a surprise if Malta doesn't go on the green list. It's been a surprise, frankly, throughout, because it's had consistently low rates of coronavirus. It's got very high vaccination rates. The thing has changed, though, in the last 4 weeks. We've gone in the UK from having among the lowest rates of coronavirus per head of population in the EU to now having the standout highest level of coronavirus. So it's not so much now about where the government may allow us to travel, but about which governments will allow us to travel there. So in Italy, for example, you now, since the beginning of this week, have to isolate for 5 days. Germany only allows UK citizens to come in for humanitarian reasons, such as bereavement, and then if they do, they have to do 14 days isolation. Angela Merkel saying that Britons everywhere, travelling anywhere in Europe, should be subject to 2 weeks quarantine. And the concern in the EU is about Delta. It's expected that by the end of August, Delta will be the dominant variant across Europe. And if there's a sudden peak of cases in Europe, that could cause real problems, because whereas 2 in 3 adults in the UK are fully immunised, it's only 1 in 3 in the EU. So there are big gaps there, and there's big potential for this more transmissible variant to cause real problems.
Yeah. All right, Fergus, thank you. Fergus Walsh, our medical editor there.